I'm Ava Cross, and my life split on a single sound. The spoon hit the plate, and my father, Victor, didn't blink. He said, "Get out! You contaminate this family!" My mother, Helen, adjusted her pearls like I was a stain. My sister, Lila, the golden child, kept playing piano while I learned what love costs in this house. Silence and yourself. Here's the part that still burns. They didn't throw me out for a crime. They threw me out for existing too loudly. If you were me, shaking, 18, no backup, do you beg to stay or walk into the night and choose yourself? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe if you want the whole truth they paid to bury. Because families don't always break your bones. Sometimes they smile and say, "Be useful or be gone." Which one hurts more? I'm Ava Cross, and if you've heard the opening of my story, you know the sound. A spoon hits a plate, and a father says I contaminate the family. I left that night with a backpack, a paint roll, and a throat full of gravel. Here's what came next. And if you're listening on your commute or late at night with your phone face down on the pillow, lean in, because the quiet part is what almost killed me. First, survival is ugly on the outside and spreadsheet neat on the inside. I took the first job I could get at a community art center, the kind of place that smells like tempura paint and old clay, where the faucets squeal and kids laugh with their whole bodies. I taught after-school classes, then evenings, then weekends. I learned how to fix busted easels with painter's tape and prayer. When my son Eli arrived, I learned the math of diapers and night shifts. I put him in a sling and graded worksheets while he slept on my chest. It wasn't romantic. It was ramen packet real. If you've been there, hit like so I know I'm not alone. The part that still scrapes raw? The world clapped for my sister Lila, the prodigy, the bright one, while I became reliable. You know that word. Sounds like a compliment, tastes like dust. I could have spent years auditioning for a family that already replaced me with a prettier script. So I did something boring and nuclear at the same time. I opened a folder on my beat-up laptop and named it Foundations. Inside it, I saved every bill, every rent receipt, every contract, every email proving I existed and paid in full. Hospital invoices from Eli's birth, tax statements, photos of the mold spot above the kitchen sink, time-stamped, in case a landlord got cute. I scanned my first student roster, the one where a little girl wrote, "I want to paint a lion that looks brave like my mom," and circled it like a miracle. I wasn't building a scrapbook. I was building a case. Call it petty, call it paranoid. I call it a fence made of facts. Months blurred into seasons. I'd wake before dawn, put on coffee that tasted like burnt almonds, spread the mail across the table, and triage my life. What gets paid? What can wait? What must be fought? I'd walk Eli past the glass front of the Hale Gallery. Yes, I still said their last name in my head like a sliver under skin. Where my father, Victor, curated reputations the way some people collect trophies. The window letters gleamed. Hale. I used to look away. Then one morning, I made myself stare until the light changed, and my eyes watered. See me, I thought, but I said nothing. Silence was my first language. It was also my jail. The envelope came on a Wednesday that smelled like wet wool and city bus exhaust. Wedding invitation. Granville Hall. Lila's name in gold, mine typed near the bottom, and crossed out in blue ink. One careful line. Like I'd never been born. That's the kind of detail you don't tell your therapist, because you're afraid they'll start crying. I pressed the card's edge into my thumb until a crescent dent appeared. Then I put the invitation in the Foundations folder, not because I wanted to remember, but because I refused to let them edit the past without footnotes. Here's where it shifts. I started painting again, late nights after Eli slept and the radiator hummed its old man lullaby. I repainted an image my father once called too personal. Light breaking through a window. I pushed the color warmer. I finished the shadows I'd left half alive in high school, and I whispered to the canvas like it could hear me. I stayed. That's when a letter arrived from Victor. Not the man I needed, just the man with the pen. "If you're willing, I'd like to see you again," it said, plus a check so big it felt like a bribe to forget. I traced the signature with a thumb and filed that too. Evidence of a crack in the marble. You want the hook? Here it is. They kept trying to erase me with polite stationery. I kept answering with documentation. Which do you think lasts longer, gold foil or PDFs? If you've ever been the reliable one, the silent one, the one who holds the house together while the chosen child shines, drop a comment. Tell me what you saved to prove you were there. And if this is hitting a nerve, share it with someone who's been told they're too much or not enough in the same breath. Because the next part is where the room finally hears me without a microphone. Granville Hall looked like a crystal swallowing daylight, ceilings too high for ordinary people, floors that repeat your footsteps back like gossip. I told Eli we were just visiting, which is a parent's code for "this might get weird, buddy." He wore a tiny tie he hated and shoes that squeaked with each step, which, honestly, felt like backup percussion for my heart. We walked in, and the sound in the room thinned to a thread. Lila appeared in white, hands shaking just enough to say she's human. "You came," she whispered. I said, "Almost didn't." Not because I wanted drama, but because I wanted credit for choosing the hard thing. Then the crowd split the way people do in disaster movies, and there they were, my mother, Helen, Olsen, cataloging flaws like a museum docent of other people's lives, and my father, Victor, posture straight, jaw set, glass of something expensive reflecting the chandelier. For a second, we were a painting. The family sees the ghost. His eyes slid past me the way they always had, until they landed on Eli. That was the collision. Picture it. A 5-year-old with my cheekbones and his grandfather's eyes, holding a sketchbook like a shield. The glass slipped. It hit the floor. And just like that, the room learned our original language. Silence after a shatter. Someone gasped. The quartet hiccuped to a stop. "What is this?" my mother said, clutch tightening. Not "who is he?" Not "is he okay?" But "what is this?" Like my son was an unexpected invoice. Eli, bless that fearless little heart, put his sketchbook on a cocktail table and started drawing. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound cut through the hush like a zipper opening truth. People edged closer, faces softening, as this kid mapped light onto paper the way I had since I could hold a crayon. He drew 2 figures under a bright window, distance between, light pouring through. My body knew the composition before my brain did. It was mine, the same image Victor had once buried in a storage room behind seasonal decor. Only now it lived in graphite in the hands of a child with my DNA and none of my fear. A guest I recognized, a critic who'd once reviewed my student show without knowing my name, murmured, "The boy's got her hands." Then louder, to Victor, "A hail after all." The room rippled. Label me petty, but I watched my father's jaw falter, watched years of curated mythology start to sweat through its seams. "Ava," he said finally, my name like gravel in his mouth. "Please don't go." I didn't move. "You told me to leave," I answered. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I let the room remember. Across the marble, a server knelt to sweep the broken glass into silver. Everyone watched the glitter go, as if it carried the story out with it. But it didn't. It stayed. It stayed in Eli's drawing, in the nervous flutter of Lila's bouquet, in the tiny whimper the quartet's cello made when the bow brushed a string by accident, in the way my mother's mouth tried for a smile and found a flinch instead. Helen finally spoke, voice trembling. "He looks like you." The subtext caught fire. "You didn't disappear. You multiplied. Here's a line that still acid etches my ribs," she added, low. "We could have prevented all this." All what? My child? My life? My art without their leash? That's the sentence you never unhear. If you felt that gut punch, comment, "I hear you," so I don't think I imagined it. Eli tugged my sleeve. "Can we go home now, Mom?" Home. The word broke something I'd been guarding. "Yes, baby." We left the drawing on the table. We left the broken glass where it lay, because some messes belong to the people who made them. The crowd parted like we were radioactive or holy. I couldn't tell which. Victor lifted a hand, not to touch, just to prove he still knew how to reach. I didn't give him the ending he wanted. No tearful embrace, no public absolution, just a woman choosing oxygen over applause. Outside, winter air slapped me clean. The music inside restarted, a little too loud, a little too bright, like a show that refuses to admit it lost the audience. We walked into the evening, and the world didn't end. It pivoted. And if you're still with me, hit subscribe. The rest of this isn't about revenge. It's about something scarier, accountability without spectacle. Because here's the truth that made the comments section explode last time I told it live. Silence can be a weapon when the people who wounded you feed on your explanations. I didn't explain. I documented. I arrived. I stood still. And for once, they had to do the uncomfortable part. Listen. A week later, snow fell like someone shook powdered sugar over the city. Eli colored at the kitchen table, humming a tune he made up. The heater rattled. The apartment smelled like cocoa and wet boots. Normal, which is exactly when the past likes to knock. They came to the art center on a Saturday. No photographers, no donors, just Victor and Helen in coats that whispered money, standing in a doorway that had always been open to people who show up. The kids didn't care. They were busy painting dragons and sunflowers and dogs that looked like clouds. Eli ran over, tugging them forward. "Grandpa, Grandma, look! I can make green." Blue and yellow swirled into something new, because that's what blue and yellow do when you let them touch. Helen perched on a stool like the room might stain her. Victor watched Eli mix color, the way you watch a magic trick you've seen before and still don't understand. No speeches, no confetti apology. He dried a page with a hairdryer without frying it. She rinsed brushes and put them in the wrong jar. I moved them when she wasn't looking. A girl with glitter on her cheeks asked Victor for more tape. He handed it over with the same hand that had once signed me out of his life. If you're waiting for the swell of strings and the cinematic hug, I'm sorry. Healing in my world sounds like paper towels tearing off a roll and the slosh of water turning gray. At the end of class, Eli walked up to Victor with a drawing. A window full of light, edges bold, space between the figures reduced to a breath. "For you," he said, like he was handing over a key. Victor's mouth worked around words, then landed on, "You kept your light." I didn't answer, not out of pettiness, but because the sentence needed to sit in the air unprotected. Sometimes the kindest thing you can give someone is the weight of their own realization. Let me be clear, forgiveness didn't rebuild my family. Boundaries did. I didn't reopen the old house of cards. I built a one-story place with windows where nothing has to hide. Victor texted now and then, not with money, but with questions that sounded like practice. How was Eli's project? Do you need rides when it snows? Helen asked about class schedules and, once, about the best brushes for small hands. These weren't grand gestures. They were respectful ones. There's a difference, and it matters. And because people always ask in the comments, did I let them meet Eli alone? Not at first. Trust for me is not a switch. It's a dimmer. It slides up slowly, or it slides down fast. I said yes to visits where art supplies were between us, where we all had something to do with our hands. I said no to holiday photos on marble stairs. When they said, "It would mean so much to the family," I answered, "Which family?" That's a line that tastes like iron and frees your lungs. Some nights, when the apartment is quiet and the mural our students made glows faintly in the studio light, I think about the first version of me, the one who believed survival meant begging, explaining, performing good behavior for a pat on the head. That girl deserved better. If you have one of those past selves folded inside you, say hi to her in the comments. Tell her she was not too much. She was exactly enough for a future that required backbone. Here's the part that might make you angry. I hope it does, because anger is an engine if you steer it. A few relatives reached out after the wedding, not to check on me, but to coordinate optics. It'd help if you posted a family photo, one message read, to settle rumors. Settle rumors? The rumor is that I survived. The fact is that I did. I screenshotted, filed it under Foundations, and went back to ordering more tempera paint. If you're watching this and your hands are shaking because you recognize something, because you were the reliable one, the edited out one, the person asked to disappear politely, like this video so it finds someone else who needs it. Drop a comment with the sentence you refuse to swallow ever again. Share it if you want your people to know you're done auditioning. I won't pretend there isn't grief. There's grief in every choice with a cost. But there's also a specific kind of peace that shows up when you tell the truth quietly and let it stand there, unshaken, until even the marble listens. That peace sounds like Eli's pencil, like kids laughing in a room that smells like soap and paint, like my breath not catching when someone says my name. Family, for me, is no longer a stage with one spotlight and a trap door. It's a table with stains and a stack of drawings that prove we were here. If you're building yours from scratch, I see you. Keep your receipts. Keep your light. And when the old story knocks, you can open the door or not. Either way, you're the one holding the handle now. Here's where I land, talking to you like a friend on a late drive home. I didn't choose drama. I chose breath. I chose a life where my kid laughs in rooms that smell like paint and soap. Some people call that defiance. I call it oxygen. I kept my receipts. I kept my light. I learned that boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks you control. And when the old story knocks, I don't owe it a tour. Do I still feel the sting? Yeah. Grief visits, unannounced, like a song you didn't ask to hear. But the difference now is simple. It doesn't get to DJ the night. I get to ask the only question that matters. Am I in the wrong for choosing quiet over spectacle? For protecting my son's peace? For asking love to show up like actions, not slogans? Here's my lesson, cut clean. Survival isn't begging to be seen. It's seeing yourself first, then building a life that can hold you. If my story pressed a bruise you know, talk to me. Drop your line in the comments. Tell me where you drew your boundary. If this helped, like it, share it with someone who needs a backbone today, and subscribe for the next chapter. We're not done, we're just getting honest.